sitting here with the one and only Mr. Ashley Scott. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. How's it going?
I'm doing great.
Cool, man.
So I attended Deanna Williams' 40th anniversary brunch.
Oh, yeah.
And Ivan Barrios said there's this brother that you have to meet, and he brought you over.
Really?
So if you come with that type of introduction, I have to know who you are.
I feel honored.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell my fans and friends out there who you are.
Well, I do a lot here in Philadelphia on the entertainment scene. By trade, I am, a musician, vocalist. Graduated from Howard with a music degree, minored in business. I've been working in the entertainment industry for a long time because I still feel 25, so I started as a kid. And worked in concert promotion at a major venue here in Philadelphia for quite a long time and have done my own events as well. Currently, I'm a member or a board member of the Recording Academy, which is Ivan is our president this year.
Absolutely.
Or for the next couple of years, and been on that. This is my first term of a 2-year term.
Okay.
So just enjoying that ride, and
that has to be exciting.
It is, and I also have another nonprofit organization called the Artists United as well, and we do a lot of events here in Philadelphia centered around that. And my for-profit company is called Flash Entertainment.
Okay. So let's start with the Grammys. What exactly is your role? What do you do?
I'm a board member, and we pretty much, are advocates for the arts and, for the Grammy process. And it's a membership-based organization. So, everyone that wins the Grammy is actually voted for, by the Academy. So if you're a musician, if you're a producer, if you're an artist or a business person, I definitely highly advise you to become a member of any organization that you can, specifically NARAS and the Artists United.
Absolutely. And Flash. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Flash Entertainment is a event production and promotions company. I've been doing events in Philadelphia, namely United We Band with the Artists United, the Soulful Sound series. We've done the Songbook series. A lot of them are tribute shows, to various musical entities or artists. We've done tribute shows to Phyllis Hyman and Teddy Pendergrass and a lot of fallen, or I would say deceased, R&B acts and superstars. So we've worked with a lot of the area, talents, that are part of the Artists United network.
Absolutely. There's a really strong culture with the arts here in Philadelphia. Talk about that a little bit, or in your experience.
To me, Philadelphia has the greatest musicians, and some of the greatest music that was ever created in mankind was from the city. And, it started, way back in the 50s with doo-wop, and it came up in the 60s with the early Philly sounds, starting with the Delphonics, who were almost like uncles to me, because they kind of spearheaded the whole Philly sound with Law Means I Love You, and the first million-seller hit to kind of, come out of this town. And, William Hart, who's the writer and lead singer of the group, he wrote the song with Tom Bell, and then Tom Bell then eventually formed Philly International with Gamble and Huff, and then the rest of that is history.
Yeah.
My dad's sister, her name is Helen Scott, she's actually a member of the 3 Degrees. So they're known for When Will I See You Again and the Soul Train thing, but she started in the group in the early 60s. Took a little break, came back, and they were already international superstars at that time, but they had more hits when she came back to the group. And so in the late 70s, Prince Charles recognized them as his favorite singing group. So the British press adopted them as Charlie's Angels, and they performed at his 30th birthday party at Buckingham Palace, and they were the only Americans other than President Reagan, his wife, to attend the wedding reception of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. So they had that whole international, phenomenon. So Philly is literally an international, the culture and the movement of its music is internationally known. And, it's continued in the 80s and 90s with Boyz II Men and Jill Scott and music and everybody that's doing it now.
Absolutely.
So I think that all the musicians currently that are from here are on major tours with Lady Gaga and Pharrell and Jay-Z.
Absolutely.
And, you name it, they're playing for them. So, Philadelphia just has that rich culture and, music history. And, people that come here, once they get a little taste of it, they keep coming back, or they just can't leave.
That's
Motown first, and then they signed with Atlantic and worked with Tom Bell, and then I'll Be Around, and all those hits that came from the Philly writing crew.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody kind of came here to get a piece of what was going on.
Yeah. That's major. And to be a part of that, I mean, it has to really settle in.
It does, and I represent the town and the music anywhere I go, and I'm always proud to say where I'm from, and to the people that I meet, and talk, from outside of this area. I always speak about it with a certain tone, and they just respect it automatically.
Absolutely. So earlier today, you had an interview with Miss Patty Jackson,
Yes.
WGAS, and you were talking about United We Band.
Yeah, United We Band is a event that the Artists United has been doing for the past 3 years. And we showcase, a lot of independent artists, no matter what the genre is. We even had gospel in certain clubs, and rock music on the same stage. And so it's a platform to showcase independent artists to our community and the network here in Philadelphia. I'm a co-founder of the organization and the Philadelphia chapter president. And so we've been doing United We Band for quite some time. And so this particular coming month, October 29th at Underground Arts, we're honoring the sound of Philadelphia, and we're paying homage to that. We have artists like Trina Furby, Jeff Morrell, Tara Girl. I'll be doing a couple songs. Joey and Darius Coleman, the group Egypt, who was signed to Left Eye before she passed away. Quite a few of us will be paying homage to that catalog of Philadelphia International.
Cool.
And we have some of those legendary artists coming out. We also have Mel Austin on the show as well.
Okay.
So we're honoring Billy Paul that night, Helen Scott of the 3 Degrees, Dexter Wanzel, who is one of the major producers of Philly International. He wrote If Only You Knew and Nights Over Egypt.
Wow.
We have Bobby Eli, who wrote Love and Let Me Wait and Sideshow. He was also a guitarist with MFSB. Earl Young from the Tramps. Phil Hurt, who wrote I'll Be Around. Bunny Sigler will be there. Gene Carmen will be there. The Delphonics will be there. So
Heavy hitters.
yeah, so we're trying to bridge that gap and connect the dots within the community to show the pioneers who's doing it now, and for the people, the current artists, to meet the pioneers.
Absolutely. That sounds really, really good. Excellent, actually. And the fact that you're dealing with indie artists, as you can see, I wore my Indie is the New Major t-shirt.
You're speaking volumes, and it's the truth.
Exactly. Exactly. Talk about that a little bit and how important it is to support indie artists in their movement.
You have to, because that's who's making the best music. You won't find you don't hear the best music on the radio. I was just talking with someone at WDAS today, and I was saying that the industry has kind of come full circle a little bit, because in the 60s it was a singles market, so people were putting out 45 records, and if you had an LP, then you were pretty big.
Right.
Motown had singles, Philly International had singles, and so now we're in that market to where we can just put a single on iTunes, and you just have to really market it yourself. But what I also said was that I can't wait till it comes back around that soul music is popular music again, because Motown was R&B, but it was popular. Same thing with Philly International, same thing with Stax, same thing with various disco artists.
Right.
It was pop music at that time. So, no disrespect to the top 20 or the top 100 right now, but it's like, I wish Ledisi was number one. I wish Will Downing was number one. I wish Frank McComb and Dombey and Anthony Hamilton and Rasan Patterson and I can't name everybody,
right.
but Kim. Like, I wish these artists consume the top 10 in the airwaves, for the most part of popular music right now.
And explain why is it that those artists that are brilliant artists aren't getting the acknowledgement that they deserve?
I think that because the industry, as a mentor once told me, the record execs stopped caring about the music. So he described, one of my mentors, who will be nameless, said, pretty much the late 80s, early 90s, a lot of the record companies had black music divisions. And so those were the people that cared about the music, but all those execs got fired. And so the elimination of that department left, and then he described people that, did have the jobs were people that wore glasses, people that had pocket protectors. Some of them were Caucasian, not that there's anything wrong with that. But, he said they began to kind of program data and their surveys and that kind of thing. And so it became more about the business, although it was always about the business because a lot of 60s and 70s artists were cheated out of their money. I could tell you stories on that too. But it was still about the music back then.
Right.
And so now it's no longer about the music, it's about the marketing, it's about the image, it's about what we can associate with that artist, whether it be good or bad products or situations or what have you. So, you know, the masses stopped caring about the music. And so these artists that are more talented, who I name, you know, they're popular in our demographic. They're the best in our minds and in our hearts, but to the mainstream world, you know, some people don't know who they are.
Right. And the music is there, and the artists are there.
The music
They're
is
just
there,
not
the
being
talent
hand
is
delivered
there.
to you like they used to be.
Right.
You have to go out and research.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So, in United We Band, it's a monthly series.
Yeah, monthly series every last Tuesday of the month at Underground Arts here in Philadelphia at 12th and Calhoun Hill.
Okay. And every month there's a new theme.
Every month there's a new theme. There's new acts.
Okay.
We sometimes bring some people back because we just love them and they were that good. But at the same time, we're giving artists a shot. So please like us on Facebook at United We Band. You can follow us on Twitter at United We Band AU. You can also submit your music to friends of friends and network at gmail.com, and we'll retrieve your music and your EPK, and we'll take a look and we'll book you for future dates. No matter if you do jazz, R&B, gospel, rock, alternative, singer-songwriter, acoustic, come on through. We want to showcase you.
You just set someone up for them to participate if they're in this career, for stepping forward in their career.
And if you're serious, because we only want the best of the best.
Right. But let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about a budding artist out there. In your opinion, what should that artist do to get themselves out there?
They just need to know the business. They should have an EPK. They should have a website. Or
some people don't know what an EPK is.
Electronic press kit.
Yes.
So, this kind of sit-down interview could be a part of your EPK.
Exactly.
We want to get to know you. We need to know who you are. We need to know how many likes you have on Facebook or followers you have on Twitter. We want to hear your music online. So have a Reverb Nation page. Have a website. Have pictures. Have a bio. Be professional. Be clean. For our stage, if you do hip-hop, we don't want any kind of cursing, negative references to drugs, disrespectful words or connotations toward women.
Right.
It has to be all positive or conscious.
Absolutely.
And the same thing for any type of music that you're doing. So just to have a professional manner and demeanor. Know how to talk to people. Know what to say and what not to say. Know what to do and what not to do. Be mindful of your social media. Don't do certain rants. Whether it be political or personal or what have you, because people look at that. Not only do we look at it, but even if you're just trying to get a regular 9-to-5 job, they look at that stuff too.
Yes.
So just keep a professional, positive attitude and demeanor, and I think you'll be successful in what you do.
Absolutely. Great advice from an industry top notch.
And have some class.
Absolutely.
Class is something that has gone out the door in music, period. It's a different time period now. People just kind of wear anything they want on stage, and sometimes they don't wear anything at all. From a male perspective, depending on who that is, hey, it might be okay. But from a professional perspective, ladies, we don't see the glamour or the appeal that we once had in certain singers.
Little mystery goes a long way.
Yeah. People like, and that kind of went out in the early 90s. There were certain singers that I recall that, used to wear gowns on stage.
I missed that, actually.
People like Tony Braxton, Whitney Houston, Shantae Moore, they were wearing that, sequin gowns and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of come back around, but it just set you apart from your everyday attire. A lot of artists back, even the 70s and 80s or even the 60s, they didn't wear the clothes that they wore on stage out in public.
Right.
You had costumers and designers specifically for that. And what was on stage was on stage, and it puts you on a higher level
Yeah.
with your image. You know, we can talk about how um, crazy some of the things that some people wore, but I mean, they were stylish in their time, and you know, there's certain things now that you can do to be stylish and set yourself apart and differently and professional.
You're talking about that. I'm remembering back to when I was a kid, and I'm thinking about Cher, and
Right.
she made Bob Mackie a star, basically
She did.
because he made all her stuff.
Right.
Her costumes had their own character. They were their own entity.
They were, and you know, again, it was about the show. It was about
Exactly.
the glamour, the
Exactly.
glitz. You know.
Exactly. Talk a little bit about the state of music today, and where do you think it's going?
I see the state of music coming full circle. Again, we're, like I said earlier, we're back in a singles market. A lot of people aren't really releasing full-length CDs. Some are. I think that the talent-wise, it's slightly getting better or is on the uphill climb. Pop music, you know, some of it is getting a lot better. I think we're getting back to somewhat better songs because it's artists like Katy Perry who, you know, I think her songs are amazing. You know, having to, you know, perform a lot of that stuff in private affairs situations. You know, we have to do that stuff because that's what's keeping the people on the dance floor nowadays.
Right.
You know, they have to hear California Girls and Firework and all that kind of stuff. And I think that those are great songs. From a, you know, industry perspective, the independent thing is the way to go. You can, you know, make a successful living promoting your music, doing performances. I think if you have it's funny, my aunt's ex-manager taught the 3 Degrees this one statement, and the proof is in the pudding because the 3 Degrees are currently celebrating their 50th anniversary, and they're the longest running female vocal trio in history. But he said, if you can entertain an audience, you can work for the rest of your life. And a hit record is just icing on the cake to create more work.
Wow.
So if you're properly groomed and you have a good show, I think you can garner fans anywhere in the world with the internet now. So invest your own money in yourself so you can go where you need to go because you have to go where the iron strikes hot. And again, using her as an example, over here they're kind of considered, you know, they had 1 or 2 #1 hits, but they weren't able to promote their music here because the other singles charted in other places. So when When Will I See You Again was #1 here in the States, they were already booked for tours in England and singing it and recording it in Japanese for the Japanese market.
Wow.
And she still goes to Japan 3 times a year in England right now as we speak.
Wow.
So, you know, just kind of monitor your music, get Google Analytics, monitor your website and all that, and know where your fans are so you can go to your fans.
Absolutely. Well, now that you opened up that subject matter, talk about overseas and their appreciation for our soul music over here. Because a lot of our artists are going over there making a killing because they love us.
I mean, again, those are places that, you know, not only appreciate R&B and black music, but again, that's where she is right now in the country of England, going back to Japan for a 3rd time this year, next month. It's artists that we don't hear of anymore that are still making a lot of money over there. CeCe Peniston, I heard finally on the radio today.
Yes.
And I recently heard that she was in Atlantic City, but I do know that she's doing a big tour in England next year with some other artists. So, you know, playing big concert halls, and, you know, it's like a big review of R&B artists, no matter what year. So, again, those are people that you don't quite hear from anymore. Yeah. You know, in terms of the Philadelphia area, our music is still big in Japan. Groups like the Stylistics and the 3 Degrees are the only ones from that era still touring the country of Japan, representing the classic Philadelphia sound. But people like Music, Jaguar, you know, Kindred, they do well over there as well as in England. You know what I mean? So the evolution of time has been good to the city that we live in.
Is there anybody you want to shout out?
I just want to acknowledge our team with the Artists United and Flash Entertainment, Lox Notch, JP King, you know, the co-founders of
see you at the end of the month.
See you soon.